From day one, I was building a brand. I wasn't building a product business. Do your idea, just act on it. No one else, I guess, has the guts nor the enthusiasm to act on your idea. I wanted to do something that's actually impactful and will leave a legacy deep inside. I'm there to change the narrative of sustainability. I'm trying to show how easy and fun sustainability can be through practical products.
Welcome to the B2B Experience, brought to you by Big Light, Europe's leading independent experience design agency. In this podcast series, we speak to digital pioneers in B2B and tell real stories of breaking down barriers and delivering change. My guest today is Maxim Gelmann, founder and chief Stroodle at Stroodles Eco Tableware. So Maxim, kind of a non-linear career, really, from strategy consultant to investor advisor, to innovator eventually, in a range of different startup modes, but then finally starting and scaling your own venture, which we'll talk about in a little while, and setting you up really for a clash between quite radical product innovation within a relatively traditional industry. So I want to get into all of that, but before we do, I'd like to just go back and explore your journey from consultant to innovator. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for having me. Very, very excited for today's chat. It's a very, very long journey. So I started in strategy consulting, and I literally did, it's not just a saying, like diapers for the elderly to retail to fashion. To be very honest, I learned a lot from the diapers for the elderly, although
Can you pinpoint one particular thing that you did over that period of time that really formed the approach that you now take?
And so basically the project was just restructuring a retail chain that was selling sanitary equipment. I guess in the UK, it's a little bit of a different structure, but in Germany, you say, no, you broke your leg, you need all this equipment. So you go to their specialist retail stores that just sell anything from wheelchairs to bandages to so on. It's hard to pinpoint, probably. As I think for anyone, there was no turning point. I think probably I say that, but probably the blue ocean strategy, that probably shaped me, because my then boss, I think, probably one of the first kind of projects that he gave me is read blue ocean strategy and then analyze. I don't remember what it was, but I had to analyze something doing a PowerPoint deck with the framework of a blue ocean strategy. And for some reason that stuck in my head, and I even on my Gelmann my consulting website, I even reference that. So I kind of very identify with that approach. So I guess something stuck there. So probably those two I would, after I've spoken for a while, those two I would probably pinpoint if you have to pin me down to something.
You went to Burning Man festival. I was looking, actually, it described as actually, let's just touch on that, the global cultural experiment where the only thing that's provided is ice.
And coffee. Coffee you can buy as well. Yeah, coffee and
ice. So you survived for almost a week on coffee and ice,
yes,
and you have to bring everything else. So
correct.
Tell me a bit about that, but also then probably more importantly, the aha moment that you had when you returned from it.
So basically, I started Stroodles technically after returning back from Burning Man in 2018. So I ordered my first samples from Italy, and I started with pasta straws back then, right before we left, I remember. So yeah, I think Burning Man, well, it's the Labor Day weekend in America. So it was September 2018. And I think what I then only realized probably year and a half or 2 years into it, I was doing a strategy workshop, kind of the usual. I got an external consultant to do that. So to do the positioning and everything. And then I realized that the values that I've, I guess subconsciously, how I shaped Stroodles with all the vision and mission statement, in my own common sense type words, was actually, I was quite shaped by Burning Man. My whole approach about values, about how I approach business, but I think that leave no trace. I could see it kind of being woven into how I created Stroodles, and then basically I got back whatever it was, mid-September, and I think I put the official launch date of Stroodles everywhere is like whatever 3rd or 2nd of December. That was the first sale of 2018. So I mean, it wasn't far from there. It was just funny that like say 2 years into it, when they were like, oh, the company like is actually based on you, analyzed. Then I only then realized that it's actually like how Burning Man really shaped me. Probably shaped me even further, but that's kind of like what crystallized. At least when I was thinking about it.
You described to me previously how you saw something on YouTube, then it was an aha
Yeah,
moment
yeah,
for you.
correct.
So take me back to that moment. What happened?
While I was in Hong Kong, there was like lots of business ideas that I saw. Like even back then, there was the bladeless Dyson fan that like now is big everywhere. I mean, so we're talking kind of like 2006, 2007. There was another business idea, so I didn't act on two business ideas, which I then saw. There's other one was I saw on Spitalfields Market, kind of like 5-6 years later, selling those cards for like just totally different idea for like £5 a pop. I remember you could buy them for like 20p in Hong Kong, and I basically just saw a video about tubular pasta being used for fun, and I think it was just that. I mean, it's obviously hard to recall. We're talking now 7+ years back. It was just like right place, right time. I wanted to do something on my own, I guess, at that time. So I was just like filling a gap because I just left the last startup. And at the same time, I guess I wanted to do something with impact, because I think there I was shaped a little bit, like not a little bit, a lot by my wife, because she was always in that impact sector, and I was always like a little bit jealous, because I mean, impact for me at that point was, well, it was just a buzzword, like now AI and everything else. So basically, it never had like a true, genuine meaning. So I think I wanted to do something that's actually impactful and will leave a legacy deep inside. And then basically, yeah, and then I think, and then before going to Burning Man, I then, I guess, contacted a few factories and then just ordered samples. And basically, I think I told myself, look, I'll just basically go for it. And I think the beauty of and I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs probably come from. Again, I don't know the statistics on it from investment banking or consulting, because you can always fall back on that. So, because you can always either do it parallel, because that's what I did for the first, I think 2-3 years. Well, you have a nice day rate, so you can always say do 3 days of consulting work and then do your startup in parallel. And so I think I was like, look, the risk is minimal. Let's start that. The capital is minimal. I did again a high level calculation, and then I acted on it in the sense of like, let's find a factory, and let's try and organize it all with a warehouse and everything else.
So Maxim, how would you describe Stroodles? Where you've got to with it today, the product, the events, and everything around it.
So I'm shaping sustainability. I'm there to change the narrative of sustainability. I'm trying to show how easy and fun sustainability can be, through practical products. I'm basically trying to change that doom and gloom type image, I have edible cups, edible spoons, edible plates, edible bowls, and then various applications of it. So for example, one of my customers in London recently, they've done like a big, I think it was a tiramisu in the edible cup, that went viral. Lots of influencers picked it up. So again, yes, it's marketing first. So that's what I learned along the way as well. So sustainability message is secondary message. So people go to that place for the marketing, or like because it's fun, they want to try that product, but it makes them question, why is that an edible cup? And then that secondary message lands in a very different frame. And I think that's what I've done since day one. And that's something that was essential to my story. And that's, I haven't changed that. I've changed how I'm delivering that story. But I mean, there was always from day one, it was about having fun with sustainability. And like, this is probably as fun as it gets, where it's like, this thing is full of whipped cream. So obviously it lands on your face. And again, it's just it's suddenly sustainability message delivered in a fun way, not with the finger pointing. It's not polluted beaches, dying animals. It's in a very uncompromising sense, delivered in uncompromising sense. So my mission is to change that whole framework and narrative of how sustainability messages get delivered. And the main thing, it's fun, it's uncompromising. So it's uncompromising on taste and experience. So you're still having your tiramisu. It's in a cup, but it's an edible cup. It's a different experience. So I haven't compromised your taste or anything else. So I think that's probably for me like the big thing of like that's the true core of Stroodles.
Oh, great. And so the timelines are quite short, really, because that was in mid 2018. You decided on your products, you created a brand, you sorted out your supply chain, and by 2019 you were on Dragon's Den.
No, it was short. But then look, I mean, at the end of the day, like this is not, I don't know, like an engine where you need like 3 years of R&D.
Yeah.
This is a branding exercise, more foremost. So like, and again, yes. And for me, that's like I can do that in my sleep, in a sense. So if you think about it, yes, it is a short timeline, but then it wasn't. It was less about the product. It was more about, I think, yeah, once I found the product and supply chain again, I was limited because not everyone replied to my emails, kind of thing. And then you just deal with it. You just deal with the original problems, and it was more. I knew from day one that the only thing that will set me apart is a brand. So from day one, I was building a brand. I wasn't building a product business. Obviously now I do experiences. I do kids products. So from day one, yes, I didn't have it figured out that I'm gonna do events and experiences 7 years onwards. But I was always building a holding brand to then create revenue pillars beyond the product. Because again, don't forget my background is not sales, and I don't identify with sales, and I don't particularly like it. I'm a partnership relationship guy, so I never was building kind of like a selling product business. I was building a brand, but obviously, yeah, you need a good product for a brand to survive and to live.
Let's dwell on that brand building. I mean, I know there's a limited amount you can say about Dragon's Den, but I think it's definitely worth catching that in those early stages, the first few years. Then, could you tell me a bit about the experience of Dragon's Den, what it taught you,
Yeah.
and what other activities you were undertaking at the time?
Yeah, so Dragon's Den was obviously, I mean, yeah, I think with touching on the life-shaping experience, so that was definitely one of it. I mean, also very confidence building. But again, I would only, not I would, I only survived Dragon's Den because of the speaking coach. So I guess shout out to, I think, Amy Taz again. I can happily share details with anyone who wants. I mean, she was amazing, and I met her in some government program where she was giving a course, and then basically I booked like private sessions with it. So basically she teaches you to not care about the audience. So I probably wouldn't have survived Dragon's Den to the extent that I have without that speaking training. So I think that was quite life shaping, and I think probably the big lesson from Dragon's Den is, I mean, and anyone who's worked with media and TV, like you appreciate how powerful an edit can be. So obviously then the story gets shaped like they wanted to shape, but I mean that's the big trade off. I mean you're obviously shown. So I think I was shown on a bank holiday weekend. I don't remember the dates. So obviously prime television, whatever. I got 12 minutes. I mean, they could have just put me into those, whatever, like 4 minutes. Yes, I didn't get the money, but obviously the exposure and everything. But I think probably the only thing I was upset about is like they cut the story. Because again, as I told you like a couple of minutes ago, like for me, it's all about the brand and about the story, less about the product. And I think it's that reduction to the product. Because again, I went partly like the motivation was to get my story out, to share the message, to leave that impact. So I guess like from a learning, like I appreciate now. And so again, from a speaking coach perspective, the big thing that she said, I remember like they can't cut out your charisma, and they can't cut out if you repeat the same thing about like every 10 seconds. So then like an editor will have trouble doing that. So I think so that for sure, and probably it definitely raises your confidence. Because I remember I was doing say filming was on a Monday, and I think about a Friday after I was doing this talk to like in London, they were all like C-level tourism professionals. I was on stage, and I think like 50, 60 people in the room, and I mean like everyone's smiling, everyone clapping. I'm like, this is boring. Like what's so it's almost like you like that stage fright totally goes, because you've just exposed yourself on television. So I think that I could definitely raise that public speaking confidence level. But then from a publicity perspective after, and I mean, that's now definitely not covered by NDA. So obviously, again, against public conception, um, you don't see a sales uplift straight away. Or like you don't see big sales uplift, at least for my type of product category. So I think what I know from other people, when you do see the big sales uplift is when your brand is readily available in retail. So say if I would have had like distribution at that point with one of the big retailers, with say whatever 200, 300, 400 like outlets, then you see, and I know it for a fact, like friends in Germany who've been on the Dragons Den equivalent, that's when it works really well. Because basically what it does, it leaves a mark in people's minds about their brand. So they remember they've seen it. So I remember like say 2-3 years onwards when I then did get some distribution, or when people then see you at a pop-up market, they're like, oh, I remember you from somewhere. Like, so I had the first wave of kind of like let's call it traditional media again. Hopefully no one gets offended. Kind of like the BBC, like all the print press. And then I had a level of, Unilad-led Bible and so on. However, that was triggered by a Reddit post. Then I suddenly had this big uplift in press, and then I went on Crowdcube for the money. And then again, obviously that Dragons Den experience then helped on Crowdcube, because then again, it had that exposure. I mean, I could use the clips and stuff like that. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting shaping experience. And it's just one of those things that obviously embarks on your personality.
To what extent did it play a role in helping you? Because you talk about the story a lot, and although the story didn't appear on the episode,
Yeah.
did it really help you crystallize that story?
No, well, I wouldn't say it helped me crystallize the story. I think it's just that exposure and awareness. Because I mean, again, with a product like mine, it's just all about awareness and getting the brand and getting the product out. So I mean, up until this day, because I think the re-airing, I think in all the, obviously BBC is all over the world kind of thing. So I remember I used to get those hits, website hits from when I was Saudi Arabia, or like all the, because I guess sometimes then people, they were re-airing it in all the different parts of the world. So it's just awareness. So, but I don't think it impacted my story as such. It's probably it shaped how I approach marketing. At the end of the day, like my business as it is today, and the story, yes, the core principle is still the same of Stroodles, but like the whole surrounding of it was just shaped by conversations, me being outgoing, me being an entrepreneur, I guess. I mean, like that's it's just that ability to pivot. I think that's, again,
Yeah.
if we're getting to it, I mean, yeah, I'm not like an oil tanker. It's obviously the ability to like react very quickly. And I think that's where I guess my blue ocean thinking comes in and says, so I mean, I was always good. Hence, obviously, like when I was employed, kind of was like chief business development officer. So it's always those partnership type roles. So I think that's what shaped my story, is just like, constantly getting myself out there, talking to as many diverse people as possible. And yeah, eventually then shaping the story.
Can you think of something or some things about the dialogue about sustainability that upsets you?
What upsets me is probably like, again, that everyone just talks theory, because you get like, there's obviously like all the government incentives, like all the carbon credits, carbon footprint, like it goes this those conversations go over people's heads. I mean, like, so I think the problem is like, and that's when we wanted to create kind of like a B Corp equivalent type of trust mark at some point. It's about like not the theory behind the scene, how many bins you've installed, how great your storytelling is. It's like, what are you actually doing to deliver that message? So hence, obviously, with me, it's all about like, I'm showing people how actionable sustainability can be. I mean, I think that's what annoys me, that like it's all just like a lot of like buzzwords thrown around and a lot of theory, but not like less action, like behind it that's actionable. Or like say in a hotel, yes, they do whatever, it can be solar power, they probably have a great waste stream. The guests don't care. I mean, A, they don't see it, they don't care, they almost assume that this is a must, and then they put you a plastic water bottle in the room, or there's other instances where they almost like counteract their sustainability initiatives. So I think it's that hypocrisy. So it's almost like it becomes a tick boxing exercise. Also, kind of like with B Corp and all those things. Again, it's like now accountants have it, like and lawyers. I mean, again, it's all it's turning more it's shareholder value for a tick boxing exercise. Again, probably that's gonna raise a conversation as well. But I mean, I think that's what, again, looking at it just from a high level, I think that's what probably annoys me, that it's just like it's all those. It's less action and it's more just theory and tick boxing and just buzzwords throwing around, and it's just about the small actions. I know, like it's things like, I don't know, like in office, rather than saying, okay, like, yeah, reducing the energy, do a bring your own scarf to work day kind of thing, like it's a different, you get the same outcome, different delivery though. So it's just like small things like that, and you've kind of increased morale with employees. It's fun, it's different, but it's a very different way to deliver that message. I think that's probably, I mean, I wouldn't say annoying, it's a very heavy word, but like, I mean, that's probably what I'm trying to change about the conversation. It's don't look at the back of house kind of thing, like look at things that are small, actionable, and actually what can you do. So my stuff people will talk about beyond the office or beyond an experience, or someone will say, if I would have you at the conference and someone has an edible cup, you're going to tell your family and everyone else about it. You're not going to talk about like the waste disposal of your company to anyone else, because that goes beyond the head, and it's just normal nowadays. So yeah,
I'd like to turn to the industry that you are effectively that you're a supplier to. So you've talked about things from a business to consumer point of view, but I imagine that the real driver of the future of your business will be B2B,
correct,
and selling through to sectors such as hospitality,
correct.
through B2B wholesale. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges that you faced in getting traction
Yeah.
in that distribution layer, and in particular, I'm quite interested in the role that you've been able to use digital as well to get cut through.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, so the hospitality industry, I think it's still quite traditional. I mean, I think there's two challenges. One, at least in the UK, been structured differently. In Germany, for example, there are distributors in the middle. So say, even if you introduce me tomorrow to the CEO of Wembley and he's really keen, he can't buy my product because they need to list me with a big distributor. So I think that was like, like in many industries, I think that was like the major challenge. But I think from a day-to-day practical challenge, is just like getting that buy-in, and especially, I guess, from the chefs. And at the end of the day, that whole hospitality industry is built a lot around like whether they like you or not. I mean, it's almost like a little mafia in some form, and like they all talk. So I mean, yes, you obviously need a good product, but obviously you need to be reliable, and they just need to enjoy talking to you and working with you. And I think that's the big complication. So especially because my product is new, it's not as straightforward. Like, I don't know, I've introduced a new iced tea. Everyone understands what an iced tea is. Yes, it might have a different flavor or some different ingredients. With my stuff, it needs people to get their head around. So what that means, like, you need to physically get the product into people's hands. And furthermore, you need to give them inspiration, um, how to use it. Because I mean, again, that's what I learned over time. Like, you need to pre-chew ideas. So although probably even the most creative chefs, ideally you need to show, or like, you can't expect people to know what to do with an innovative product. You need to almost give them the case studies, and then they can make their own conclusions or interpretations of how they can use it in their own context. But yeah, that meant having to physically send out samples, seeing people. So it's not as easy as someone just going on the website and buying it. There's very often a layer of, I mean, yeah, for personal use, it's fine when you buy a box of 10, but not when you buy serious volumes. So there's always that layer of someone buys or needs a sample pack first, and then you can sell to them. So And in terms of digital, and I pick up on early probably what I mentioned to my learnings about marketing. So for me, it's a lot of like just staying top of mind. So for me, and again, they probably will raise comments like newsletters, and for me, I just like need to get into someone's inbox. They just need to see my name at the right time because they've just come out of a meeting about sustainability, and then they suddenly remember me. So that's again kind of like maybe that's a little bit of blue ocean thinking there. It's like it's not very
Yeah.
straightforward, but that's the strategic inherent outcome.
Well, your product range is such that people are drawn to it and they want to do something innovative with it,
Correct.
which, it's because the whole thing is fun.
Correct.
Does that create enough of a pull so that wholesale distribute? Because you've mentioned before that
Correct. Yeah.
you've got there's many SKUs,
Yeah.
and you need huge volumes, and
Yeah,
people can't order from multiple suppliers. So how do you create that? Is that how you create the pull through so that wholesalers then will range your product?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, they obviously need to see the case study, so to say. Yeah, but like all my listings eventually happened because yes, there's enough customers like asking them for my products, and they seeing the exposure plus obviously the pressures with like obviously government pressures with the plastic ban back in the day, or like not back in the days, like when it came into effect, and more pressures now about like the food waste disposal. So all that in combination, yes, works in my favor. Plus, again, I guess I have quite a unique position. So a lot of those wholesalers there's no competitive product in their portfolio. So they can easily list mine because I mean, it stands out and so a lot of people, again, I get cut a lot of slack or I get a lot of like marketing benefits because obviously it reflects nicely on whoever lists me because I mean they are seen as an innovator. So as much as I'm piggybacking on other people's credibility, they're piggybacking on my credibility. Because I mean, like say even if that distributor puts me in their brochure and say still if no one orders, the customer who's read that brochure is gonna remember, oh, that distributor is an innovator.
Aside from the business ideas that you let slip by, because
Yeah, yeah.
you didn't have an action mindset
No,
at that
yeah.
time, based on everything that you've, particularly with Stroodles in mind, can you think, when you think back at everything that's happened, you've achieved, and what you have failed to achieve, if there has been some of those, what would you have done differently? Is there anything in particular that you would have done differently?
Well, there's always things retrospectively you're always smarter, but probably like the main the only thing that definitely springs to mind is like I somehow had the stereotype that outsourced warehousing is very expensive, and like it's you only do that when you're big. And like when 2 years into the company, I then finally decided, oh, let's get a quote, and realized it's so much cheaper to kind of like outsource the whole thing. So I think that the problem is there's lots of stereotypes around about like what's expensive, what's not. Again, I guess it's all like, see, look, I'm a believer. I mean, everything happens for a reason. It's all serendipity. Like it's all the journey that I needed to take that took me there. I mean, sure, there's probably like the odd decision I would have not taken. But again, I guess like I needed that lesson for something. Although sometimes it was financially expensive lesson. But I mean, there's no point going through life with regrets in that sense. So hard for me to pinpoint something I would have done
Okay,
differently.
okay,
Probably
and
like added more products in again. No, I mean it's probably, I think probably the big thing that I learned. I mean, I think like as you say, like I have that action mindset. So I mean, I understand the blueprint of doing your own company and like doing a startup. So I'm not afraid of acting on an idea.
if a 30-year-old Maxim-looking person came along today, what advice would you give them? One piece of advice.
The one piece of advice that I've been given and I give a lot of people. So a lot of people are afraid to share their ideas. Like all this NDA, yes, I guess in some industries you have to, but it's just like, I mean, just go through life with like the horses have the blinkers. Just like do your idea, just act on it. No one else, I guess, has the guts nor the enthusiasm to act on your idea. And like the less you share it, the more you close yourself to potential opportunities and people potentially helping you. So I think just go through life with like in terms of acting through on your company and telling people with those blinkers, like ignore the competition in some form. Like don't look at like, oh, someone could do XYZ. It's just act on it. Just like tell people about it, tell about the business, like share. Because I mean, I've had all the help because I've just talked about my business, and everyone's like, especially in London, it's all about charisma. Sorry, about like karma and like people wanting to help you. But if you have like, if you're constantly protecting your ideas, and like not telling anyone, I think that's not gonna get you far. So it's just like, I know it's hard, I guess in some industries it's not practicable, it's like something super scientific or whatnot, but I mean in my type of product businesses and things like that, like don't be afraid to tell your ideas, and kind of like don't like kind of ignore what other people say, that there might be someone who might want to steal your idea. No one's gonna, well, even if they do, great. I always said, like, if McDonald's would have started to do pasta straws, that's probably the best thing that could have happened, because that would have given me credibility from day one, and because they wouldn't have sold to anyone else anywhere, and the market is big enough. So yeah.
I've got one final question. It's a bit of a closing tradition on our podcast, which is called B2B Buzzword Bingo.
Okay.
So given that you are very much exposed to the world of B2B, it's just one of your channels, I know. But
yeah.
Can you think of one buzzword or trend in B2B right now that's overhyped that you just wish would go away?
Yeah, probably like the perception of the sustainability being like a buzzword around theory. I mean, like that's probably something, as I mentioned earlier, that's like I definitely want to would want to go away, like that sustainability doom and gloom type image. So I guess I want to see more of like fun around sustainability and communication around sustainability messaging, especially for B2B, in the B2B context, and like how it's kind of like implemented on a day-to-day, like beyond just reusable water bottles and I don't know, like waste disposal and like solar panel roofs and things like that.
So more scarves in offices, more top hats.
Well, more fun communication around it. Exactly.
Very good. Maxim, thank you very much. Fantastic
Thank you.
conversation. I've enjoyed it very much.
Thank you. Same here. No, thank you. Yeah, we really enjoyed it as well.
Well, that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, then please visit the Big Light website. There, you'll be able to find other episodes and subscribe to access exclusive content. I'll see you next time.